Imagine the moment when the land, having guarded its secrets for over 10 millennia, finally reveals them. This isn't a scene from a movie. It's reality, unfolding right now in one of the most mysterious places on our planet. What we're about to tell you upends all our notions of who our ancestors were and what they were capable of. For a long time, we believed in a simple story. First, humans learned to grow grain, then built cities, and then created civilization. But what if this story is wrong? What if long before the advent of agriculture, when humans were still hunting and gathering plants, they were already building majestic temples, creating complex symbols, and organizing societies that force us to rethink the very essence of human genius? Because we never knew, or even imagined, that simple hunter-gatherers were capable of creating such impressive monumental structures. Beneath the massive stone circles of Göbekli Tepe lay a sealed chamber, awaiting discovery for over 10 millennia. But now, researchers have finally seen what was locked within. The first step into this crypt felt like a journey through time. There, in the semi-darkness, archaeologists discovered a sacred world unseen by human eyes since prehistory. The stone carvings, the bizarre shapes, the deathly silence, all scream of secrets that threaten to shatter everything we thought about our past. Humanity's first temple, a revolution in our understanding of history. Almost 12,000 years ago, a strange, gigantic stone complex was built on a hill in what is now southeastern Turkey. This place is called Göbekli Tepe, and it completely changed our understanding of the capabilities of ancient humans. The people erected enormous stone pillars arranged in circles. This was astonishing because at that time, people lived as hunter-gatherers. They hadn't yet practiced agriculture or built large settlements. Yet, they somehow managed to cut and move heavy stones, lift them to the top of the hill, and create massive monuments. This astonishing fact makes Göbekli Tepe unique because it proves that even before the advent of agriculture, people possessed sufficient organization, planning, and faith to create something so grandiose. Göbekli Tepe is located on a limestone plateau approximately 15 kilometers northeast of the modern city of Şanlıurfa. On this plateau, ancient builders erected distinctive T-shaped stone pillars. Some of these pillars reach a height of 5.5 meters. Around each circle of pillars were walls or benches, forming what archaeologists call enclosures. On the wide surfaces of these pillars, the builders carved images, wild animals or abstract forms, possibly symbols. These carvings and their arrangement make Göbekli Tepe appear less like a village and more like a place built for special gatherings, rituals, or ceremonies. Archaeologists have long believed that large buildings and temples appeared only after humans began farming, settled in a single location, lived in villages, and had the time to invest in large monuments. But Göbekli Tepe completely changes this view. This monument was erected by people who moved, hunted animals, and gathered plants, but did not farm or raise livestock. The massive stones, the intricate design, the meticulous carving, all of this required a tremendous collaborative effort. Many people working together, coordination, planning. This means that even without agriculture, these early people possessed a social organization powerful enough to create great monuments. This upends our conventional story of how civilization began. Because of this, many scholars now believe that Göbekli Tepe may be the first known temple or ritual center, older than any other large religious or ceremonial building known to us. The enclosures and carved pillars may have served as sites for ceremonies, rituals, or feasts, where people from different groups gathered. Some experts speculate that the site was a pilgrimage center, a place where people gathered to share common beliefs, traditions, and perhaps to honor ancestors or spirits. The mystery of absence. What the silence of the stones reveals. Another striking fact, despite the monumental enclosures being enormous and impressive, the site is surprisingly absent. Archaeologists have found no evidence of conventional dwellings, hearths, or trash pits, typical of permanent settlements of the era. There's no clear evidence that the builders lived there permanently. Instead, the monument appears to have been used only occasionally, perhaps when people gathered together. Yet, despite this, they carried out extensive stonework, transporting, organizing, and carving. B. All this indicates that these hunter-gatherer groups were much more complex than we previously thought. Göbekli Tepe is of enormous significance for understanding human history. It pushes back the emergence of complex human architecture and symbolic thought by thousands of years. It shows that long before agriculture, before cities, even before pottery, people could build, plan, carve, and create. This proves that spirituality, faith, community, and collaborative efforts may have emerged even earlier than settled agriculture. This means that our picture of how civilization began may need to be rewritten. First came faith and ritual. Then came agriculture and settlement. Göbekli Tepe may be one of the earliest chapters of human civilization. Furthermore, the craftsmanship and technology at Göbekli Tepe are impressive. Builders formed massive limestone pillars by hand using simple tools, then moved them and arranged them in orderly patterns. Some researchers have discovered that the arrangement of the enclosures may follow geometric rules, possibly triangles or other shapes, indicating an early human understanding of geometry and planning. Such architectural complexity, without modern tools, without metal, without advanced technology, speaks volumes about the skill, creativity, and collaboration of early humans. A voice from the depths of time. Discovery of a sealed chamber. Today, Göbekli Tepe stands as a remarkable testament to human ingenuity and faith. It attracts researchers, historians, and inquisitive minds from around the world. It challenges old ideas about when and how humans evolved from small nomadic bands into organized societies. It invites us to rethink. Perhaps humans became spiritual and social beings even before they became farmers. Perhaps faith first united people, and only then did agriculture, villages, and civilization follow. This place is a bridge to our distant past, a time when people dared to build, dream, and seek meaning long before history was written. Recently, archaeologists working at Göbekli Tepe conducted in-depth research and meticulous excavations, leading to discoveries that have transformed our understanding of the monument. They pierced layers of soil and removed ancient dust to reveal hidden details that had remained sealed for thousands of years. During this work, the researchers encountered something they didn't expect. They discovered a life-size human statue positioned horizontally within a wall between two key structures known as Enclosure B and Enclosure D. Workers carefully removed layers of soil to reveal the face, torso, and upper body, carved from stone and still in their original position. This discovery has revealed new insights into how people used images at this site. Until recently, Göbekli Tepe was known primarily for its pillars adorned with animals and symbols. But this single human figure revealed another side to the monument's long history. Experts studying the figure's placement noted that its placement was no accident. They explained that it was intentionally installed within the wall, forming part of the building's structure. This suggested that those who built the structure may have used the statue as an offering or an object of ritual significance. The figure lay within the stones, as if intended to remain there forever, becoming part of the enclosure's life. This shifted attention to the ways in which early builders incorporated human imagery into their symbolic architecture. It also prompted researchers to return to earlier structures and re-examine the buried walls for similar features. Underground, revealing a sacred space. When the last layer of soil was removed and the chamber opened for the first time, the space within slowly unfolded under the light. The room stretched out in a cold stillness that had held its place since the earliest eras of human life. Every stone was exactly where the builders had placed it, and every shadow within revealed how the structure had been formed long ago. The workers entered through the entrance with extreme caution, allowing the air to settle around them as they inspected the walls and edges. Inside, the space carried a strange feeling, as if time had stood still within the chamber, waiting for someone to enter again. Even the most experienced team members paused as they crossed the floor, absorbing the details of the room, which had remained sealed through centuries and the natural changes outside. The workers then quickly spread their equipment throughout the chamber, setting up scanners, cameras, and other instruments to record every corner before touching anything inside. Laser lines moved along the walls, revealing shapes carved into the stone, while 3D cameras mapped the ceiling and the floor. Dust samples were collected from the edges to determine how the space had remained sealed and protected for so long. As the team slowly erased the surfaces, shapes began to emerge from the shadows, and carvings began to reveal themselves in faint patterns. Every inch of the chamber seemed meticulously organized, as if everything had been placed with a purpose. Images from within began to emerge as the team worked through the space, and people everywhere responded to the details emerging from one of the oldest ceremonial sites known to human history. Faith frozen in time. What the walls tell. The chamber slowly revealed itself, and the moment the team entered, everyone realized they were seeing something truly extraordinary. This was not just a hidden chamber beneath one of the world's most ancient temple monuments. The space had been sealed for thousands of years, perfectly preserved, with no loss of form or meaning. The first thing that struck the archaeologists was the sheer size of the room. They expected a small storeroom or a secondary crypt, but the chamber extended wider and taller than anyone could have imagined. Its walls rose with care, carved and arranged in ways that clearly showed planning, intent, and deliberate design. Every corner seemed to tell a story. Every shadow seemed meaningful, and every stone felt intentionally placed. The team moved through the space slowly, brushing away dust and allowing light to fall on shapes frozen over millennia. As they moved further into the chamber, the carvings on the walls began to take shape. Animals appeared almost everywhere, writhing and crouching along the stones. Snakes slithered across surfaces. Foxes crouched in corners. Boars and birds appeared in sequences that suggested storytelling. Each engraving seemed placed to draw attention, as if intended to direct the gaze of anyone passing through it. Geometric patterns ran along the edges, forming lines and shapes that hinted at ritual or symbolic use. The team bent down to trace each line with their hands and cameras, trying to discern whether the carvings represented maps, star charts, or stories passed down through generations. Some patterns were multi-layered, revealing repeated attention over time, as if each generation added its own imprint without erasing the previous one. The interplay of old and new hinted at a society that honored tradition while adapting to change. The objects inside the chamber were carefully arranged, clearly following a plan. Polished stone tools, bowls, and figurines were not scattered haphazardly. They were arranged in ways that suggested ceremonial use. Some figurines depicted humans with exaggerated features, while others depicted animals that could have symbolic significance. Each object seemed chosen for its material, shape, and meaning. The level of craftsmanship astonished everyone, far exceeding what would be expected from a hunter-gatherer society. These weren't just objects or decorations. They were carriers of meaning, perhaps even knowledge, encoded in their form. The team moved slowly, wiping away layers of dust to reveal surfaces that had remained untouched for thousands of years, allowing each discovery to soak in as they traced the purpose of each placement. Among the most striking elements were smaller stone pillars, shaped like massive T-shaped monoliths outside the chamber. These miniatures were carved with intricate reliefs that mirrored patterns found throughout the site. Archaeologists carefully studied them, considering whether they were used for ritual instruction, symbolic practice, or private ceremonies. Whatever their purpose, the objects revealed a deep understanding of architecture, symbolism, and social organization. Carved niches and recesses in the walls also appeared throughout the chamber. Many appeared to be designed to hold objects that were no longer there, leading the team to speculate about perishable items such as offerings, ritual tools, or sacred objects. The niches were not placed haphazardly. Their positions suggested alignment with celestial events, seasonal cycles, or ceremonial routines. Each recess seemed intentional, part of a larger plan connecting space, time, and human activity. As they continued their exploration, analysis of dust and debris revealed traces of pigments on the walls and artifacts. Red, ochre, and black colors hinted that the chamber had once been brightly decorated. The combination of carvings, pigments, and carefully arranged artifacts suggested that the society that built this site thought deeply about ceremony, symbolism, and perhaps moral or spiritual narratives. The chamber was more than just a room. It functioned as a stage, guiding visitors through experiences, rituals, or teachings designed to provoke reflection and understanding. The team moved from one corner to the next, scanning surfaces, removing dirt, and photographing forms. Each step revealed more detail, revealing how each choice reflected knowledge, intention, and purpose. Stars and stones. The astronomy of ancient builders. Advanced scanning and imaging technologies added another layer to understanding the space. 3D scans revealed that certain carvings and artifacts aligned with sunlight entering the chamber at specific times of the year, such as the solstices and equinoxes. At these moments, the light illuminated certain carvings or objects placed in niches. This suggested that the builders had an advanced understanding of astronomy and the passage of time, integrating celestial events into the design of their sacred architecture. For hunter-gatherers, without written calendars, this knowledge would have been valuable for both practical and spiritual purposes. As the team walked through the chamber, they could sense a story coursing through the space, a narrative connecting the carvings, pillars, and objects. This could record creation myths, seasonal cycles, or moral lessons about life, death, and rebirth. Every shadow, every object, every carving seemed intentionally placed to direct attention, provoke thought, and create meaning. The repetition of animal symbolism throughout reinforced possible spiritual or social meanings. But unlike many archaeological sites, where objects are scattered or obliterated, everything in the chamber survived intact. The sealed chamber provided a rare glimpse not only into the artifacts, but also into the intentions, beliefs, and cognitive abilities of its builders. Remaining untouched for thousands of years, the space preserved a snapshot of human thought, ritual, and culture from an era before written history. As the archaeologists walked through the chamber, they felt they were entering into a dialogue across 10 millennia, encountering a society with artistic mastery, architectural knowledge, symbolic thinking, and an awareness of celestial patterns. Every corner raised questions. Every object demanded attention, and every detail hinted at a civilization whose complexity continues to amaze. The genius of prehistoric builders, rethinking the possible. At first, it seemed impossible to imagine that hunter-gatherers could have built something like Göbekli Tepe. The conventional wisdom has always been that advanced buildings, large monuments, and significant art only appeared after humans settled down to farm. But here is a monument from approximately 9600 BC, created by people who had not yet invented agriculture as we know it. This fact alone turns our assumptions on their head. It forces us to rethink what the word primitive truly means. These people were far from inept wanderers. They organized themselves, thought carefully, and worked over long periods, perhaps generations, to create structures designed to last for thousands of years. Archaeologists have gathered clues about their society, but much remains a mystery. They likely moved in small groups, following seasonal patterns, gathering plants, hunting animals, and adapting their lives to the rhythms of nature. Despite their mobility, these people were capable of planning and executing massive construction projects. They quarried and formed enormous T-shaped pillars, transported them over long distances, and installed them in circular enclosures. The level of cooperation required for all this is staggering, especially without wheeled carts or draft animals. Every movement had to be meticulously organized. This work suggests social structures far more complex than is typically assumed for hunter-gatherers. People had to assume leadership roles, coordinate labor, and agree on common goals. Even the slightest error in moving massive stones could cause a collapse. Yet they managed it, demonstrating ingenuity, planning, and a vision that went beyond their daily survival. Art and symbolism were central to their culture. Each pillar, both inside and outside the newly discovered chamber, is decorated with animals, shapes, and abstract patterns that likely have a meaning deeper than mere decoration. Boars, foxes, snakes, and other animals reappear. Although these animals were part of everyday life, their depictions appear symbolic, perhaps spiritual. The carvings don't simply reflect reality, they interpret it. Some researchers suggest they represent myths, ancestral stories, or even stargazing. The patterns are meticulously crafted, multi-layered, and interconnected. Each generation appears to have added to the work, never erasing what came before. The team collected these clues by moving carefully, tracing the carvings, and studying how they fit into a larger cultural picture. The hidden chamber fits into this cultural and symbolic landscape. Its precise design, symbolic carvings, and placement beneath the main temple indicate its special role. Unlike open enclosures, the chamber was hidden and sealed, suggesting secrecy and importance. Who could enter? What actions were reserved for those permitted to enter? Every feature, from the wall carvings to the niches, indicates thought and planning. The placement of artifacts within, from bowls to figurines, hints at intentional arrangements intended for ritual, reflection, or study. The chamber adds a deeper layer to understanding a culture that combined practicality, spirituality, and social cohesion in ways we are only beginning to uncover. Astronomy appears to have influenced the builders. Certain alignments in Göbekli Tepe correspond to the solstices and equinoxes, and the carvings inside the chamber interact with the sunlight at these times. At certain times of the year, the sun's rays fall on the carvings or objects in the niches, highlighting the patterns and emphasizing their importance. This demonstrates that the builders carefully observed the sky and incorporated celestial knowledge into their architecture. For a people without a written language, this integration of observation, art, and architecture demonstrates remarkable abstraction and planning. Each carving and placement within the chamber appears to have a purpose, demonstrating that they understood the cycles of time and used them to guide ceremonial life or encode cosmological knowledge in ways that were meaningful to the community. A society bonded by faith, the social organization of ancient peoples. The social aspect of Göbekli Tepe is also prominent. The construction of a monument of such scale required cooperation, coordination, and shared cultural values. Labor had to be divided, tasks assigned, and people trained to perform specialized work. Some materials, such as specific stones, may have been brought from far away, implying trade or exchange networks. These people were connected, sharing knowledge and resources to make monumental architecture possible. The discovery of a sealed chamber is particularly significant because it may contain evidence of hierarchy, rituals, or practices that reveal how society functioned and how these people organized themselves in ways more complex than previously thought. Religion or spirituality appears to be intertwined with everyday life. Repeating motifs, animal carvings, and the careful placement of artifacts suggest a deep investment in sacred practices. The construction of Göbekli Tepe itself may have been an act of worship, strengthening bonds and honoring forces beyond human control. The sealed chamber may have been the most sacred part of the monument, a private space for ceremonies, initiations, or spiritual training. This represents an early example of organized symbolic religion, long before the advent of written records. The builders' ingenuity extended to engineering. Moving multi-ton stones, carving intricate patterns, and arranging stable circular enclosures without modern tools required extraordinary skill. The markings and furrows suggest meticulous planning and architectural understanding. Studying Göbekli Tepe, and especially the sealed chamber, challenges everything we thought about early humans. These hunter-gatherers were capable of monumental architecture, symbolic thought, and complex ceremonial activity long before the advent of agriculture and cities. The chamber provides a window into their intellect, creativity, and vision. Every carving, artifact, and architectural choice reflects social organization, symbolic reasoning, and the human desire to create lasting meaning. By walking through the chamber, tracing carvings, and cataloging objects, archaeologists gain insight into a civilization whose complexity was far beyond anything previously imagined. This forces us to rethink human capabilities in prehistory and the origins of culture, art, and ritual. A question that remains open. Meanwhile, do you think people were able to erect such detailed monuments at that time? Share your views in the comments. If you enjoyed this material, please like and subscribe to this channel. Before you go, check out other videos on our channel.